Maverick News presents The Rick Walker Show. Defrag your mind.
Just leave your keys for the car, thieves. Leave them by the front door. It's no big deal. And then you don't have to confront the thieves and you can just let them take your car. This is the story that is getting traction in Canada tonight. Everybody seems to be talking about it. We're going to talk about it a little bit too, and we have some. I'll show you how people are reacting. So much for property rights, right? Okay, whatever. Oh my. Okay, if you're watching over on Instagram tonight, just a reminder that the broadcasts on Instagram are only allowed to run for 30 minutes. So 30 minutes from now, it will end. If you want to keep watching the program, you have to come over to Rumble. Go to our Rumble channel, and we'll still be broadcasting over there. Just to let you know. The suspect in that Ottawa mass killing, it was in court today briefly. We have, 6 eighth graders facing criminal charges over comments that are being described as hateful and racist online. We have Justin Trudeau. This is going to be the focus of some discussion tonight. Justin Trudeau saying, well, he's just, I think he's about to make a really critical error. Again, I think he's making it right now. He doesn't know how to compromise. He doesn't know how to bring people together. Over the last, yesterday and today, he's just proving that point again. He's just lacking in leadership skills, and it's really, really starting to hurt him, like it didn't before. Anyway, I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to comment on, and because of, the other question is Canada an SH blank T whole country? Chris Sky thinks so. And that's because of the car key thing. I'll show you that too. We'll update you on the condition of Kaylee, the young teenager from Missouri who suffered severe skull injury, maybe brain damage after that mob fight where her head was repeatedly smashed into a sidewalk. So we'll get into that. And, SpaceX, Elon Musk. Lost another one, lost a Starship. Oh, well, we'll just make another one. I've got the money. And one of RFK Jr.'s VP picks, Aaron Rodgers, under fire already. Not even the official running mate for RFK Jr., but the media is coming for him in a big, big way. It has already started, folks. So stay with me. We'll be back after this, and we'll start digging into the top news stories of the day.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Also, tonight at the end of the broadcast, I'm going to run that video finally, properly, with audio this time. I hope. Of the, that was produced by those teachers out in Western Canada back when we were dealing with the vaccine mandates. It didn't run with audio, and it was powerful then. It's more powerful with the audio, and I want to share it with you properly here tonight. So that will be happening, but we will be running it only on the Rumble channel. So at the end of the broadcast, make sure you flip over to Rumble. If you haven't done it yet, make sure you go over there. In fact, here, why don't I put that link in the chat for you guys right now. I'll do that while I think of it. And that way you guys can venture over there and you won't miss a beat. If you do go to Rumble, it would be really great if you would consider subscribing to the channel over there. That would certainly be helpful to us. Where should we start tonight? Let's start with Justin Trudeau. Okay, so this is a story with some commentary. Today he was in Windsor, Ontario, speaking to Autoworkers. Of course, Trudeau hitting all of his key campaign notes down there in the Motor City, Windsor. Labor Town. You know, it has at times been a pretty big, you know, a pretty strong liberal community, NDP liberal. Herb Gray was the member of parliament there for a long time, so he has, you know, a good base of support there. But he was hitting on the climate change stuff, the carbon tax stuff, and this is the stuff that has really divided the country. Certainly, it is dividing politicians. It is very divisive for Western Canada. The carbon tax policies, the carbon tax plan in Canada, it's just low-hanging fruit for Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party of Canada. It is, a sore point with the province of Alberta and Premier Danielle Smith out there. For our American viewers, this is like a huge issue. It's an energy issue. It affects you guys too, because it affects the amount of oil that can be produced and exported in Canada to you in the United States. Major issue. Pipeline issue for you. Danielle Smith just this week told Justin Trudeau that the relationship between the province of Alberta and her government would improve dramatically if he would only get rid of the Environment and Climate Change Minister, Stephen Guilbeault. And in Saskatchewan, the premier there, Scott Moe, recently came out and said that They were going to stand against this carbon tax policy. And more than that, Saskatchewan, under Scott Moe, the premier there, they're not going to collect the carbon tax. They're not going to, they're just going to stop collecting the carbon tax on electric heat effective January 1st. So let me bring up the clip from the premier there. Then I'm going to show you this reaction, and this is really what comes after this clip is really what you need to be taking note of, and the tone of it, and why I think Trudeau is about to make another grave error that could cost him, not only politically, but it could cost us the darned country. And I'm not saying that lightly.
Our government was able to make the decision to stop collecting the carbon tax on natural gas because you, Saskatchewan people, own the natural gas utility, Sask Energy. Well, we also own the electrical utility, and that's why our government has decided that Sask Power will also stop collecting the carbon tax on electric heat effective January the 1st.
See? So it's escalating. And why? Because Trudeau does not know how to, he really doesn't know the art of politics other than to use a sledgehammer and coercion. You know, even his dad understood to a larger degree the art of politics and why you need to work with people. That's not Justin, though. This was him. Is this the clip that I want? No. I want this one over here. This was him, I believe, yesterday. And this was Trudeau responding to Scott Moe on the carbon tax issue. See, this is what this is doing, is it is driving a gigantic wedge between the federal government and the provinces, and specifically Western provinces, and more specifically, in this case, Saskatchewan. It's a standoff. It becomes now an issue of jurisdiction, sovereignty. You see, in Canada, provinces and the federal government, the way the system is set up, they're supposed to be partners, like equal partners. And they do have specific areas of jurisdiction. That's what Scott Moe is referring to. There's a really strong separatist movement in Western Canada. It's very strong. People think about Quebec and the language issue, the culture issue, other issues there too, but those are the things that have really historically driven the separatist movement in Quebec. But in Western Canada, there's a strong separatist movement. I don't think it has ever been as strong as it is right now. And it is all centered around energy, the environment. Alberta is the oil-rich province. Alberta has the wealth, the resource wealth to power the entire country and the economy. Saskatchewan also rich in resources. The federal government in Canada has basically gone to war with the oil industry. They want to shut it all down. They're doing it bit by bit, piece by piece, chipping away at it. It's affecting the economy out there. They're anti-pipeline, anti-oil, anti-automobile, degrowth. It's costing jobs. It's costing prosperity. A lot of people don't like it. It's obviously. And Scott Moe is pushing back. Danielle Smith has pushed back as well on, in many different areas. Again, on what kinds of issues? Sovereignty. In fact, she had the Sovereignty Act, so-called, such as it is, drawing lines of demarcation, defining them more asserting provincial authority wherever possible. The premiers of these provinces saying the federal government, Justin Trudeau, not respecting their areas of sovereignty, provincial sovereignty. Now, what are we getting from Justin Trudeau? We're getting a hard line on this carbon tax. So important it is to premiers that they're coming out and now saying, you know what, Justin, we're not going to collect your tax. We don't think it's constitutional. We think it's within our right to not collect the tax and pass it on to Ottawa for redistribution as you see fit. And that's what they've been doing to Western Canada, the federal government. They tax heavily. They tax the resources of, coming out of Western Canada. Then they redistribute the income to the wealth to other parts of Canada, where they're taking from what they see as the have provinces and giving to the have-nots. The problem is now that with this war on energy, the economies in Western Canada are declining, or they're struggling. And so they're saying this isn't fair. It's not right. Trudeau comes out with this yesterday. Listen to the tone. Does this... And look at the eyes. That's another thing, okay? But look at this. Just listen to him. Well, maybe you can. See, that's the problem. They just might. He's pushing so hard. He has, people say the system doesn't work. This system doesn't work. The system works extremely well. People say, well, we can't make any changes. We'll never be able to make any changes. Justin Trudeau has fundamentally transformed this country in really the short period of time that he has been Prime Minister. That's because these liberals and Trudeau, who grew up in the world of politics, the son of perhaps the best-known Prime Minister in Canadian history, he knows how the system works. He knows how to generate money, take in donations. Dare I say, he even knows how to hide money. He knows how to manipulate the system. He knows how to get what he wants. He knows how to use the system. That's why he's been able to effect such dramatic change in such a short period of time, because the system really, really works, especially if you know how to use it. The problem with people who say the system doesn't work is that they don't really know how the system works. So they push here and they push there and they try to do this and they try to do that to push back, but they're not very effective because they're up against a chess master in the world of politics, against Trudeau. He comes from a political family. He's dialed in. He grew up immersed in it. That's Trudeau. And he's angry right now. But you see, he's also kind of spoiled. Kind of always got his own way. Grew up, and this is me editorializing here a bit, grew up in the lap of luxury, didn't really have to work in menial jobs like, probably didn't work at a fast food restaurant. And he, my dog is barking again. It's very distracting. I'm down here in the studio. He's upstairs. I can hear him. I apologize for the ruckus. But Trudeau, he's just spoiled. He's just spoiled. Gets his own way. Used to getting his own way. Getting his own way. And that's on full display right here. It was on full display during the Freedom Convoy. Would not come out to even talk to the truckers. You've got this massive protest out there. It's an issue It's causing disruption. As I said at the time, all he had to do was come out and just speak to the truckers or have a delegation go in to speak with him. It could have been done properly and safely, but he just wouldn't talk to people. Nope, got to take a hard line, goes so far as to invoke the Emergencies Act. The newly branded version of the old War Measures Act, using it against his own people. Well, what's he doing right now? Taking a hard line on the carbon tax. People are not happy with it, Justin. There are a lot of people suffering out there. People are just trying to heat their homes and stay warm in the winter. They're just trying to get to work in their cars. And this tax is an additional burden on people at a time when so I just know, just a comment in there that I just noticed. It's coming at a time when people can ill afford it, right? It's rough out there. The premiers know that. And out west, they've just kind of had it up to here with the impositions of the federal government. And there is also, let's just face it, historically in Canada, there is still, I think, this lingering prejudice, even national bigotry that contaminates the national discourse and the mood. You know, the Laurentian elites, if you want to call them that. And you've seen Trudeau with comments illustrating his contempt, really, for Western Canada. Lack of respect. Complete lack of respect. In fact, he just visited Alberta. Didn't even tell the Premier he was coming into her area. That was a few weeks ago. You're not going to keep the country together that way. This is very, very dangerous for Canada. You can see the anger in him. It's like, you have to do what I say. You have a tax. You can't opt out of the Federation. You can't opt out of Canada. No. They may do just that. There are people out there right now pushing for separation. They want the country to break up. This is exactly the reaction they want from Justin Trudeau. This is exactly what could lead to the breakup of the country. Over an issue like this, too. Carbon tax, this all relates to energy. This all relates to resources. This all relates to, federal transfer payments. All these policies. Justin Trudeau's attitude is about to put Canada as a country, as a unified federation, at risk. And that is not an understatement. Here we go again. He really needs to check himself. Today he was down in Windsor, Ontario, where he was speaking to Autoworkers. But before I get to that, actually, I just want to run this one more time. People, well, I'll get back to this. I want to get back to his eyes. All right? There's something weird going on with his eyes. Well, I'll do it right here. Watch this clip again. Look at his eyes. People are making a lot of comments about this, and I'm not sure, honestly, what to make of it. But look at him. He's all... Is there something wrong with his eyes? Like he's got an allergy attack, or is he medicated or something? It's kind of weird. Does not look normal to me. Was that video doctored in some way to make him look that way? I don't think so. Looks pretty natural, but people are actually commenting on this online tonight. And they're saying, like, what's wrong with him? Here's one here. This is actually Ezra Levant from Rebel Media. Look at this. I'll show you what he says. I didn't even realize Ezra had commented on this, but I do have a clip here that Ezra is referring to. So Ezra is asking, what is Justin Trudeau on?
And that's an easy thing for short-term politicians, short-term thinker politicians, to say, oh, we'll get rid of the price. They don't talk about the fact that they're also going to get rid of that check, the Canada carbon rebate, that puts more money in the pockets of the vast majority of Canadians. And they don't have a plan, or they don't talk about how they're going to actually use the heavy hand of government through regulations or through subsidies or some other way to pick winners and losers in the economy, as opposed to trusting the market. Now, your question, Rick, is sort of, well, that all makes sense. Why are so many people still against it? Well, you know, that's a question we all have to ask. But my job is not to be popular. My job, although it helps, my job is to do the right things for Canada now and do the right things for Canadians a generation from now. And that's what I've been focused on. And yeah, it's not always popular. But I know that doing the right things today, that support people today, that deliver that better future a generation from now, 2 generations from now, is going to make a huge difference in the path we take forward.
No audio. No audio? Are you kidding me? No audio. Do you have audio on that, guys? Did you have audio on that clip? I made huge changes to the system again today to fix this. Was there audio on that clip? Yes, audio. Okay, so you had audio on that one, but you didn't have it on the other one? Audio is fine? Okay. All right, 10-4 audio. Good, okay, we've got audio. I'm really sorry about these audio issues. I went back to the old audio system for tonight. Everything should just be firing properly, but I guess we had no audio on that one clip. It makes no sense. They run exactly the same way. I don't get it at all. Let me know. I'll be no audio on the other. No on the other. I do not understand, because they are set up exactly the same way. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try doing it this way. And this is a test. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a test of the regular broadcast system. Do not be alarmed. Well, he says, well, Trudeau got angry there. I don't have the clip's not coming up here now. Let me go over here. Let me run it this way, if I can. Here you go. This is a test. This is a test. Do not be alarmed. Here we go. Let me try it this way. You tell me if you have audio on this. I can hear it here. Audio? Audio? Do you have audio? No audio. Bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. Don't understand why. I do not understand why. My apologies. I'll have to figure it out. Never had a problem like this before. It's been ongoing for days now. Okay, so let's keep on rocking and rolling. Where was I with this whole thing? Now I've lost my train of thought. I was on a bit of a roll there too. Point is, Trudeau with this carbon tax is pushing the country to the brink. I don't think he realizes it. I don't think he even sees the danger. On an issue like this, he's, these are key issues of national national sovereignty, of provincial sovereignty, of the economic issues, jobs, all of these things. And when you just push and push, and you're not willing to, well, when you take that attitude with the premier, who is basically drawing a line in the sand, you're going to end up going to war politically in a way that could lead to, honestly, the breakup of the country over an issue like this. I don't think I'm understating that. Now, Trudeau did, as I say, appear in Windsor today. He was down there speaking with Autoworkers, talking, of course, about the electrification of the auto industry, investing in retooling auto plants and so on, meeting with union members. And also referring to, taxation, carbon tax. Talking more about that. I hope there's audio on this one. Let's bring up Trudeau and listen to what he had to say here.
Vibrant communities where people pull together. These are things that we can take for granted in Canada, but the world is showing us we cannot take those for granted. That the challenges we're facing around the world happen as people are pitted against each other, as people lose faith in their institutions, whether it be Supreme Court or unions or government institutions. And here in Canada, there is still a belief that we can do this together and we can lean on each other and our systems work for each other. Yes, we need to keep fighting for it. It didn't happen by accident, won't continue without effort. But all those advantages are part of what our pitch is on drawing investment in Canada. But all those advantages together aren't as important as the single greatest advantage Canada has. That's Canadians themselves, our workers.
See, what he's talking about here is he's talking about Canada has huge advantages over other countries when it comes to attracting investment and engaging in trade with other countries, because the country is so stable, with a stable government, because we have the rule of law, because people work together, the country is unified. That's what he's talking about there. No. He has done more to destabilize this country than any prime minister I have ever seen in my lifetime. Even as Quebec was trying to decide whether it would remain part of Canada or not. I can't think of a time when Canada has been more unstable than it is right now. You go back and look at what he did during the Freedom Convoy. He weaponized the banking system. He froze bank accounts. That undermines confidence in Canada for foreign investors. If a federal government in any country is willing to go to those lengths to achieve a political objective, freezing bank accounts, it has a chilling effect on foreign investment. People internationally lose confidence in your banks. The country itself now has never in my lifetime been so torn apart. People have never, in my lifetime, I've never seen people have such low trust in our institutions, in our school system, in our legal system, in the political system itself, in our large companies, our corporations. People see them as being in bed with government and being controlled by government, or a symbiotic, mutual control, fascistic style corporatocracy. that has been created within the country. Woke identity, progressive politics. And he wouldn't talk to the truckers. Mandates, forced vaccinations, coercion, disregard for the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, disregard for the Constitution, new legislation aimed at censoring people while he stands up and says that he's all for free speech, commenting tonight, answering a question in a scrum today with media. When asked about India, country of India, censoring a W5 documentary about the assassination of the Khalistani separatists on Canadian soil, Trudeau says, well, it just shows that different countries approach free speech in different ways, and I'm very much in favor of free speech, and I won't run you the whole clip, because he then goes on to talk about this TikTok review down in the United States where a lot of American politicians are pushing for TikTok to be banned. Canada also has had its share of concerns about TikTok, Huawei, Chinese infiltration into Canadian politics. And here's Trudeau talking about the TikTok situation. Oh, I think we lost our clip. Here we go. This is him today on TikTok. I have to flip over to this other tab, sorry. Big issue. Not as concerned about TikTok China as the US.
Prime Minister Matt Hamid, the Canadian Press. We know that the Canadian government ordered the national security review of TikTok 6 months ago. Is your government considering joining the US in possible ban? And when are we expecting to conclusion of this review?
As you know, Canada made the determination that no government phones or devices can have the TikTok app. That's a matter of security and safety. We're watching, of course, the debate going on in the United States, and I can't comment on national security reviews.
Okay, on a different topic, do you agree with the EU foreign minister who says that Israel is using starvation as a weapon of war in Gaza?
We are and have been from the very beginning extremely concerned about the humanitarian crisis ongoing in Gaza, which is why we have stepped up in terms of our aid, including to UNRWA, why we've continued to call for a ceasefire. We need to see the hostages released. We need to see Hamas lay down its arms, but we need to see humanitarian aid get in and Canadians and their families getting out. We're continuing to work towards a two-state solution with a peaceful, independent Palestinian state alongside a peaceful, independent Israel. This is what Canada continues to work on actively on the international stage, and we continue to push for Canadians to understand the pain each other are going through and be there to remember our core values.
You know, it's like he's talking about Gaza. Have you ever seen so many protests in the streets as we've had in the last, well, since like October? Have you ever seen so many protests in the streets in Canada, period? It's like Justin Trudeau has succeeded in, I think, upsetting just about everyone. Everybody's PO'd at him. It's amazing. Even India, right? The government of India doesn't like him. The Khalistani separatists who are at odds with the government of India, they don't like him. They were out protesting just within the last few days. They had a clash with police on the streets. And this is all a result of Justin Trudeau's policies, his activities, the people he cozies up to for political support, including, I would say, foreign influencers that he only pays his lip service to in these scrums and during question period. Those Khalistanis, from the way I've been reading things over the past few years, the Khalistanis are supposed to be on his side because he's supposed to be supporting them. That's why the Indian government doesn't like him. But now he's failed to protect those guys from being assassinated. Now they're not happy with him either. So he's losing on both sides. Nobody likes him over there. Nobody likes him over here. The issue in the Middle East, I don't think that the pro-Israel side is happy with him, and I don't think the pro-Palestinian side is happy with him. They're all, the Palestinians, these protests, they're all out in full force protesting against Justin Trudeau as much as they're protesting anything to do with the war in Gaza. I get calls from people every single day want to talk about Justin Trudeau. People are worried. I keep saying his days are numbered, and I think you're seeing it here. The question is, how much more damage can he do before he leaves office? I'm editorializing a lot here, just in case you haven't picked up on that tonight. Western Canada, energy thing, all these issues that I brought up tonight, it's all tearing the country apart. We need real leadership. We need somebody in there who can honestly calm things down and remind everyone that we do at least have one thing in common here, and that is that we are all Canadians. Justin Trudeau needs to remember that too.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, I'm back, and I think I have another version of that clip. I do want you to hear it if you haven't heard it already, and here's another version of it. Let me know if you have audio on this one. I'll bring the comments up. You tell me. Here we go. Audio? No audio? Wow. Okay. All right. Strangest thing. We should have had audio, but we don't have audio. Okay, well, we'll keep on plugging away here, doing other things. Let's move on to other stories. That suspect who was arrested and accused in the mass killing of 6 people in Ottawa did make a brief court appearance this afternoon. Fabio de Zoisa, 19 years old, appeared by phone. He is, as I say, facing 6 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of attempted murder. That was a mass killing that has shocked the community, still in shock, in Barrhaven, part of Ottawa. The victims all from Sri Lanka. He was living in the home with them. And people are trying to make sense of it. Exact motive behind the crime, we still don't know. Waiting for more information to come out in evidence. Just a brief phone appearance. They have a series of those. It's sort of a routine thing. And because it's a high-profile case, you'll hear from time to time media reports about him making court appearances, but don't make the mistake of thinking that he's on trial now. It's a procedural thing, and they'll do this over and over again. They come up every once in a while, and then they remand, and then they push dates forward, and that process goes on for quite a while before they actually get to trial. Just so you kind of understand. It drove me crazy when I was a court reporter because they'd send me down sometimes for high-profile court cases, and there was really nothing to report. It was just like, he was in court again today, and that's really what today was. But just making you aware. Sort of on the police beat, Toronto police, I think it was a community relations officer, kind of put his foot in it, put his foot in his mouth. Here, I'll show you. This is all about an officer who was at a community meeting talking about the problem, the rising problem of car theft in Canada. And he tells people, you know what you should do? Leave your car keys at the front door. Then, when the criminals break into your house, you don't have to fight with them. They'll just take the keys and be on their way with your car. Of course, some people have taken exception to that. They don't think that's a good advice coming from police. I get what he was trying to tell people. You don't want to get hurt. Your car can be replaced. But people are saying, well, what does this say about the state of our country? I think rightly so. So police now are trying to backpedal on this a bit in Toronto. Here's their community X page. It says here, an officer at a recent community meeting suggested that people leave the keys to their vehicle in a Faraday bag by the front door. While well-meaning, there are better ways to prevent auto theft, motivated home invasions. Learn more here at TPS Toronto Police Service.ca. Media, the rest of it kind of goes. That's the URL to take you to their page. So look at these comments from the public. People are not happy, man. People are not happy. He says, my wife and I, this is from somebody named Fahim A. My wife and I have started planning to become asylum seekers elsewhere. We will become Canadian refugees to somewhere more secure and less taxes. Yesterday, under my condo, a dude killed his entire family and chased his brother out on the street, shot him dead, bullets flying. People are not happy. Joe on X says, do your jobs properly so we don't have to worry about car theft. Jazzwall says cops usually have other important things to deal with, so they say let the insurance deal with it. These types of crimes are only going to stop when thieves start to face cops. Woke liberal laws are not going to help stop crime. Never did, never will. We need enforcement. NK says the Canadian law is need to change for self-defense purposes, just like in USA. If you come to my property with the gun to hurt me or my family, they should pay the ultimate price, and I believe majority of Canadians think the same way. Rocket Man Bad says, do you know who also solves this? Proper defense training with firearms. What also solves this? Peter says, anyone breaks into my house and the first thing they'll see is a little black hole, and the second thing they'll see will either be and I'm not going to say the rest, but you've got the idea. The Madness says, it's okay. We all know modern policing is aligned with the mandates to protect, and I'm not going to say the rest of that either, because it's referring to things that are racial in nature. That's where this anger takes people. That's not good. That's also divisive. The crime is a result, I would say, of government policies failing. Social engineering failing. F on X says, I leave my front door wide open so the thieves don't have to kick it down. Well, that's very considerate. Mrs. W says, wants more time to go to Timmy's on his shift. Donut joke, cops. GW says, I will write PIN numbers on my bank card, credit card, and tape them on my back when I visit downtown Toronto. Mike Toth says, is this a parody account? GW says, brilliant idea. And Bamafont says, but we were told if we just give our property away, then it can't be stolen. What gives? Your concern for property feels a bit bourgeois, comrades. It just goes on and on and on. Yeah, big misstep on the public relations front there, Toronto Police. It's pretty bad. In fact, so bad, and I can't say I really agree with this post, and I don't know if there'll be any audio on this or not again, but we'll give it a shot. I've got another idea on how to fix the audio issue, but, well, here, I'll just show you the post anyway before I even try to run this. I mean, I'm sure many of you are familiar with Mr. Chris Sky. He posted this online. He's making some waves with this. But pretty strong language. He says, Canada is the most pathetic hole filled with the world's biggest ease. And this language is strong here. I'll let him say it for himself. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. You tell me again if we have audio on this. Here he is.
Still don't think Canada is a shithole full of complete pussies and losers? Well, check this out, guys. The police have just released a statement to all Canadians From now on, please leave your car keys by the front door so when home invaders come in, they can just steal your car without you having to confront them and possibly getting hurt.
Audio on that? Got audio? Well, at least we got audio on that one. Again, set up exactly the same way. Audio on that one, the other one not. I don't know what it is. Anyway. I don't think the country's an SH blank T hole. I think we've got some big problems, but I won't go that far. I understand the frustration. I understand the use of the words, but I wouldn't go that far. I think we got a bad government right now, but I wouldn't call Canada an SH blank T hole myself. You know, I love my country, so we're going to clean it up. We're going to fix it. That's what we're going to do. At least that's what I want to do. So I don't think it's helpful going around calling it an SH blank T hole. But we'll see. We'll see. I understand. So, what else do we have for you tonight? Well, all of that, we're talking about crime. I can update you on that situation out of Missouri. Kaylee. Another fundraiser has been set up for Kaylee, the young girl who had her head smashed in to the sidewalk in that melee, that fight outside that high school in Hazelwood, St. Louis. Still in critical condition, still unconscious. They won't know the extent of her brain injury until she wakes up. Now, finally, media, more mainstream national media picking up on the story. Even People magazine now picking up on it. Of course, the racial aspects of this front and center locally, not so much nationally. That aspect of it not being given the headline in the stories. Here's the People magazine article on her and what happened. Of course, it was a black girl that she was fighting with. How much the racial element played into this, if at all, not clear. I don't know what all the evidence is. But we do have, I think, serious issues facing young people these days, regardless of their race. And this is absolutely something that needs attention because it's, I think the problems that preceded this, resulted in this, run deep. So, a couple of fundraisers, one now, Give, Send, Go, I think. One of them is up over $125,000. The other one has just started, and it is just over $6,000. And we'll continue to follow that story in the days ahead. Police out in British Columbia investigating a suspicious death near the University of BC. Mounties were called to the area, or someplace very close to the university, overnight. RCMP have issued a statement saying they were called there about 11:45 p.m. last night to respond to a woman who was in medical distress in a residence. She was injured in some fashion. Police say she died from her injuries. They have not been able to identify the woman. But she is an adult and they believe she was associated to the residents. Why they have not been able to identify her, if they know that she's associated with the residents, is beyond me, but we'll just have to wait again for more information to come out. That just seems a little bit strange, actually, to be quite honest. SpaceX, Elon Musk, lost another Starship. Oh, my Starship blowed up. Sorry, it floors me, the money that is just flowing. You know, it's just incredible. Anyway, they launched this Starship, unmanned, another test. And this rocket, the biggest rocket ever made, the biggest, I guess it's like the biggest rocket that has ever flown. They want to take these things to Mars. So the rocket wizards there over at SpaceX, quite the adventure yesterday. It all started about 8:25 in the morning. Yeah, today. And this thing blasts off. A lot of hoopla surrounding it. It's a big test, right? So they were hoping to have the thing re-enter and reuse the rocket. Elon Musk was all pumped up about it. He took to Twitter to share his excitement. He said, Starship reached orbital velocity. Congratulations, SpaceX team. Everything seemed to be going pretty well. They were all celebrating over there. But then it broke up on re-entry. I've got some video. Here we go. Let's bring up the clip for you. I think it's all pretty cool stuff, but these space shots are so commonplace now. It's like people just sort of take them for granted, you know? Oh, no big deal, just another rocket going
the
up.
Earth's atmosphere. This is where the Earth's atmosphere is doing the work to slow us down.
Now, like we said, this plasma field wow, what a view. We hope to maintain these views throughout. Starship is so big that we're hoping that the plasma field doesn't entirely blanket the entire vehicle. Right now, it is not. The Starlinks are
Views brought to you by Starlink.
Yeah, the Starlinks are still communicating and still capturing the data and the video that we see here. I mean, Shiva, this is just absolutely incredible views. We've never seen anything like this before. This is the biggest flying object ever in space.
Absolutely, Kate. And it's important to note, with the ascent burn that we did was to get us to orbital velocities, even though we were on a nearly orbital trajectory. So the heating and the loads that Starship is going through right now
Audio.
it would be getting if it were recovering from an orbital mission. And just the fact that we have views through entry, this is incredible.
Yeah. Again, this is the furthest and fastest that Starship has ever flown. And you can definitely tell by the crowd here in Hawthorne.
The heat shield tiles doing their work. We talked about it earlier. Up to 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit that those heat shield tiles are dissipating as we...
But the rocket was lost. Federal Aviation Administration says there was there was nobody hurt, no property damage as a result of the debris falling to Earth. It broke up into pieces, burned up, I guess. So, who wants to be first to go to Mars on that thing? I guess NASA is also looking at using those ships to go to the moon. And that's supposed to go ahead, I believe, in 2026, if everything works out okay. Now, I think that Elon Musk and the people at SpaceX understand and expect that they're going to lose some of these rockets as part of the process of doing what they're doing. They say this is key to the mission statement that they live by over there at SpaceX, which is, their primary goal, I guess, is to eventually put people on Mars. Me, personally, I think I'll stay here. I don't think Mars is a very hospitable place. So I'm quite happy breathing the air right here on this blue marble floating around in outer space. That's just me, though. Anybody else want to go? I'll be right back after this. Going to take a break, push some buttons, deal with some technical things here for a minute, and I shall return on the other side.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so RFK Jr., he's got some momentum. He's getting some traction. Media is paying a little bit of attention to him. And in yesterday we were talking about who his running mate choice might be, who he would want as his VP should he manage to get elected. Now the mainstream media picking up on it today, but not in the way that I don't think that RFK Jr. would like. I don't think he wants this. The two people on the short list appear to be, as identified by RFK Jr. himself, Jesse Ventura, the former wrestler. We told you about him last night. And Aaron Rodgers, the football star. The thing with Aaron Rodgers is, not vaccinated, became involved in some controversy about whether he was vaccinated or not. When asked, I guess, if I remember right, he was asked in a news conference if he had been vaccinated. Not vaccinated, was he... He came back with this answer saying that he had been, it was a play on words. He didn't say he'd been vaccinated, but that he was, he made it sound like he'd been vaccinated, but he hadn't really been vaccinated. So he was kind of telling a misleading thing without really entirely lying. And so for a long time, people thought that he'd had the jab. But then it came out later that he wasn't vaccinated. So that became a big issue for a while. But it was because he got COVID. And they said, well, if we thought you were immunized. And he said, well, I was, but he went to used some sort of holistic procedure to try to build up his immunity to COVID or something. So that's what he was referring to. So he didn't really lie, but he sort of led people to believe that he'd been vaccinated. So that was an issue. Then there are these other issues that some people say he subscribes to, these conspiracy theories. RFK Jr. also being accused by mainstream media of being a conspiracy theorist. And tonight, Aaron Rodgers, one of the two people identified by RFK Jr. as a possible running mate, under fire from CNN. Here's a headline that NBC has up as a result of this. Aaron Rodgers responds to CNN report on Sandy Hook beliefs. So they're going after him on this. The Sandy Hook issue, of course, and Alex Jones' Achilles heel. That's what they ultimately went after Jones with, and then leveled like a massive multi-million-dollar fine against Alex Jones that he'll never be able to pay. Let me see here. I think I've got a clip from CNN with regard to this. Here we go right here. And again, hopefully we have audio on this. You tell me if we have audio. Okay, here's part of the CNN coverage that has resulted in the headlines that we're seeing tonight surrounding Aaron Rodgers. Hang on. Audio? No audio? No audio. No audio. What if that's so frustrating? Okay, well, don't understand it. Something's going on. Something really weird is going on. Anyway, point is, this is the CNN report. So they're saying that a CNN reporter met with Rodgers at one point at the Kentucky Derby, and he was talking to the reporter about the Sandy Hook incident. And of course, the issue there is, well, some people think that a lot of that stuff was not real. So this is, Aaron Rodgers, New York Jets quarterback. He's responding to this report from CNN that he cast doubt on the veracity of the 2012 Sandy Hook killings. 20 children, 6 adults killed there. And the reporter from CNN has suggested that Aaron Rodgers has said something to the effect that what happened at Sandy Hook was actually a government inside job and the media was intentionally ignoring it or something to that effect. So they're really going after him. Yeah, and it wasn't even just a multi-million-dollar settlement or penalty that was levied against Alex Jones. It was $1.5 billion is what they want Alex Jones to pay, because he said that it wasn't real and that there were actors there. And although he'll say that he did say that it really did happen, but his reporting, I guess they're alleging that, you'd have to go back and review the case, but the charges against Jones were that his reports resulted in people going after the family members and harassing them because they didn't believe that it was real, and it turned into a real mess. Because they said that Alex Jones was spreading a lot of falsehoods around the Sandy Hook attack. So I don't know, man. Like, this whole thing with RFK Jr., he needs a solid running mate, or he's in deep... well, he'd be in deep trouble, because he needs someone with real credibility in order to stand up against these attacks of being a conspiracy theorist himself. And so if he brings somebody in, and this is just my opinion, but if he has a running mate who is also kind of easily cast in that light by mainstream media, by the establishment, now you've got two people that they're just going to say, oh, there's just a couple of conspiracy theorists, and they're going to hammer on that. He'd be much further ahead if he could get someone very serious, very... he just needs somebody who can broaden the appeal of the ticket beyond his base of support, because you can't win with just your base. Even Trump can't win with just his base. He needs a broader degree of appeal. You need to cut into some of that mainstream discontent and pull that over to your side in order to win, because whoever ends up, if anybody is able to beat Joe Biden, it won't be by much. Don't underestimate the strength and the conviction of people on the Democrat, neoliberal, woke side. They're passionate as well, and they're just as invested in everything on their side as people on the other side are, and maybe even just as crazy. So that's why RFK needs somebody who's just a little bit outside his sphere. He needs somebody who's not like him to get people who are not like him to vote for him. That's what you need to look at when you're picking a running mate. Now, a man has been sentenced to 6 months in prison for threatening World Jewish Congress after the Hamas attack. It's a Florida man. He was sentenced to 6 months in prison today. He left a threatening voicemail with the World Jewish Congress in New York City 2 weeks after the Hamas attack on October 7th on Israel. This information coming from the Justice Department. In the message, this man said, "If I had a chance, I would kill every single one of you Israelis." This is from Deep Patel. That's what was on his voicemail. He left that on October 21st. He went on and said, "Cause mass genocide of every single Israeli." Just after the call, within minutes, this 21-year-old Patel also called a synagogue in Temple Terrace, Florida, and left another voicemail. Very similar in nature. Federal agents went to visit him, and he said that, according to the Justice Department, that he had explained that he had called Jewish centers to express his family's anger with Israel for the genocide of the Palestinian people, and that although he did not intend to scare or threaten anyone, he wanted to use the harshest language possible to convey his anger. Nevertheless, they took it all very, very seriously at the Justice Department, and as a result, he is now going to spend 6 months behind bars. further reinforcing what I've been saying here for a long time. Be careful what you say. Don't threaten people. Even if you're just joking, it may not be interpreted as a joke. You could easily get yourself into a lot of trouble, as this person just found out. And I don't know what you guys think of Jesse Ventura. Another Boeing plane had to make an emergency landing at LAX. American Airlines flight carrying 249 people was forced to make an emergency landing due to a mechanical fault. CBS reporting this tonight, just seeing this. This is actually not brand new. It's been, I think, from overnight. Yeah, another mechanical error. No video available of it that I'm seeing here, but an emergency landing made. PR disaster over there with Boeing. Incident after incident. And of course, once you have a problem like that, every single thing that comes up now will be highlighted and reported on. It will take a while before this fades away for Boeing. If at all. I don't know. It's bad news over there. Now, folks, I'm just going to remind you that we are going to flip over to Rumble here very shortly. I'm going to run that finally. The video that was produced by teachers out in Western Canada, in Alberta, at when the vaccine mandates were really in full effect, and it was having such a disastrous impact on our country, our communities, on our social fabric. So I'm going to run that when we come back, but you have to go to Rumble to watch it, because I'm going to have to dump off YouTube in order for you to see it. I can't run it on YouTube. The content is too sensitive in nature, too controversial, and we could also get hit with a copyright strike over on YouTube, so we're going to pull off YouTube. Here is the Rumble channel. Put it in the chat again so you can continue with the broadcast over there. And there it is. So please head over to Rumble and we'll pick you up on the other side of this. Give you a moment to make the switch. See you over on Rumble.
Feel the vibrations. Our quest continues. The truth is out there. We are Mavericks.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Too late. Too late. Too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
We're back. And I'd like to get it back. I'd like to get the country back. I'd like to get back to where we were in the before times and make things better. Gonna just kind of review a little bit of what was said the other night about the education system in Canada, and get ready to get, if you're not over on Rumble, go on over there now. I put the link in the description because I'm going to dump off here in a moment of YouTube. I started sitting in this chair again after leaving media a long time ago because I got so frustrated with what was going on with mandates. I got so frustrated with what the government was doing, the way it reacted to the pandemic, the lockdowns, the masks, the vaccination policies, arresting kids and moms in parks for going outside, laying charges against people just for showing up in a park, shutting down small stores, leaving big box stores open, proceeding with policies that were supposed to protect us that seemed to make no sense because they didn't make any sense. It was crazy, absolutely crazy stuff. And people, so many people, losing their jobs because they did not want to comply with policies that were designed to coerce or force them into getting the thing in the arm. They took away people's right to choose what goes into their own bodies. Really, it was, I think, a violation of people's rights. I still believe that. Went way, 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 way too far. We saw what happened with the freedom convoys as a result of that. That's why, so people are still fixated on that moment in history, because it was such an important moment for Canadians. It was pushback against the government in what I think was probably the darkest time in our history. Maybe. One of the darkest times, anyway. It still is dark, isn't it? I said the day that Justin Trudeau invoked the Emergencies Act, that was the day that Canada died. I still believe that. Canada's still here, and I don't believe it's an SH blank T hole country. I just think we have some really serious problems. The foundation is still there, but Justin Trudeau is busy burning the house down. So too are a lot of other politicians and bureaucrats and others who bent the knee instead of standing up for what was right at the time. It's my view. Group of teachers out west felt much the same way. AB Educators for Human Rights, I believe, was the name of their group. I don't know if they're still together or not, but they're all out there still fighting for freedom. And as I said the other night, a friend from afar, who shall remain nameless, sent me a link to this video, a teacher. This teacher leaving their job, that they've decided to leave their job because the problems just persist. the system has been captured by what I would say are political extremists, our own government. Too much just too much. Identity politics, neoliberalism, cultural engineering, strong arm tactics, comply. Politics just too thick within the school system. Instead of teaching kids how to read and write and prepare them for the future that way. I noticed it when my kids were in school. The focus is on cultural things, social things. And they're not traditional. And it puts a lot of pressure and strain on teachers because they're required to go along with these things. And of course, a lot of that has come to a head for a lot of people over the, the drag queen story time stuff, whatever your views on that might be. And I think, honestly, as a result of the funding for those kinds of programs, they've pushed so far that they've gone beyond tolerance. And that is a phrase that Justin Trudeau used in a speech in London, Ontario, about a year and a half ago. He said Canadians have to move beyond tolerance, referring to the Muslim community and how he wants Canadians to sort of embrace that. I understood what he was sort of trying to get at, but you can't do that. The best you can do is tolerance. He went on to say, today we are all Muslims. If I remember the phrase correctly. No. If you're a Christian, you're a Christian. You can't be a Christian and for a day be a Muslim. He doesn't get it. What you need is tolerance. If you say you have to move beyond tolerance, now that becomes intolerant. He doesn't get it. That's the problem within the school system, too. That's the problem within our country right now. Everybody's moved to the edges so much that there's absolute intolerance all the way around. And it's dividing the country. And as a result, it's tearing the country apart. And because of that intolerance, because of the emotion, we've moved from where we were during the pandemic, even when people were pushing back, before the convoy. I think all people wanted was they just wanted the mandates to stop. They didn't want to be locked down. It was about choice, I think, for the majority of people, right? It was like, if I don't want to get it, if I don't want to get the thing in the arm, it should be my choice to not do it. If you want to, you can go ahead and do it. For a lot of people, though, since then, it's moved beyond that. And now on the one side, you have people who still are out there getting the thing in the arm, and some people have had 6, 7, 8, 9, I don't know how many now. Well, other people, on the other side, it's moved from, I just want the choice to say no. I want the option to say no, and that should be my right, to, and people should have the choice to, oh my God, it's a genocide, and we have to stop anybody from getting it. So they don't want people to have the choice either. They want a ban on this, and they see it as their duty to go out and prevent people from getting it. And so you see people on both sides, on the extremes, think that they are saving the other side. And it's their duty to save the person that they're fighting with now. And it's the strangest thing. you can have whatever view you want on the thing in the arm. For me, even if it's something that's, it has to be about choice. It's about freedom. That's what it has always been for me. So a freedom of choice. You do what you want to do. I'll do what I want to do. I believe what I believe. You can believe what you want to believe. We have to be respectful of each other. We really get into a dangerous place when we're trying to tell one side or the other what to do. And then it becomes more complicated when people think that they're out there actually saving other people by forcing them to do the thing that they want them to do. And that's where the insanity really starts to take hold as well. Or maybe the sanity. It depends on your view, on where these things are at. And I know there's been true information, there's been misinformation. The mainstream media has blown its credibility. Nobody believes them. I'm seeing, all kinds of different reports and information, and it just like, where's the truth? It'll come out over time. I'm tired of listening to people lie about things. I just want facts. It is what it is. I'm not going to get into all of that, but I'll tell you this. I remember what it was like before, and I know what I want, and I think we can get back. But it's got to be whatever we do, however we get back there, it has to be about truth, and it has to be about freedom, and freedom has to be about personal choice. You can't coerce people and enforce things and take a heavy-handed approach to freedom. Freedom means leaving people alone, being tolerant. You're a Muslim, I'm a Catholic, I'm an evangelist, you're a Hindu, whatever, do your own thing. As long as you're not infringing on my rights, you go ahead and do whatever you want. To me, that's where we have to be. And get along. I feel for these teachers, they put their hearts and their souls and more, I think, into their jobs, the good ones. And we have this teaching crisis in Canada right now where they can't find enough teachers. We talked about that 2 nights ago. Can't fill the jobs, can't find qualified teachers to do it. Well, no wonder you lost a lot of good ones, just like they lost a lot of good nurses and doctors too, because they didn't want to do the thing in the arm. And now these problems, these other political, cultural problems, they continued. Political problems. They're scaring teachers away. It's so bad that in some jurisdictions they've taken to providing a crash course for unqualified adults to just sort of learn how to take care of a classroom. And I think they're employing these people with about 30 hours of training so they can essentially sit there and babysit a class. I said the other night, what an incredible waste. And a waste of talent, of knowledge, of experience, of wisdom, leadership, of role models, when we need that now more than ever, as we've seen with violence in the streets and kids being beaten. Kids need guidance. They need those examples to follow. And we need to build a brighter future through them. We owe it to them. And there are still teachers out there fighting. I take my hat off to them. If I had one on right now, I would, but and so this video was sent to me by this friend from afar. They're leaving their teaching job. And the they brought this video to my attention, and man, I'll tell you, it's powerful. Ran without audio the other night, touched some people, but I'm going to run it here now for you again tonight. And it goes back in time. It takes us back to when the pandemic was at its height. And you'll notice that the message in here is about choice. At one point, there's, I think, a couple of kids holding up signs saying, I'm vaccinated, I'm unvaccinated. One on each side of the other, because it's about choice. It was about choice. Hope we can get back to that, but that's my personal view on it. So I'm going to shut YouTube off here now, folks, and go exclusively over to Rumble. So goodbye, YouTube, and goodbye to our viewers over there who have not switched over to Rumble as of yet, but thank you for watching tonight, and we'll be back tomorrow night with you guys as well. I appreciate you spending the time here. There goes